Hi everyone, so on today's video I'm going to discuss what is going to happen in the stock market once the elections are over. Now this is not a prediction video, this is an analysis video. So I will show you data, charts, graphs, help you understand and parse through the data, and this is a data driven analysis. That's the point. So of course उसमें predictions आते हैं, no doubt about that, but these are data driven predictions. I'm giving you my viewpoint. Now it's not as if that this will 100% play out. I'm showing you one picture. Try to see pictures from different sides and form your own opinion. This is a pivotal time in the Indian stock market, so to say, because take a look at this graphic and Modi ji is saying that, you know what, अगर मैं वापस पावर में आ गया, right, तो आप लोगों की चादी होगी and people are going to make बेइंतहाशा पैसा. Okay, so this is what Modi ji is saying. On the flip side, what market is right now predicting is, and you can see this from this second graphic. Now here what experts are saying that the market reacts with unease to lower voter turnout and shifting narratives during Indian elections, and experts foresee ongoing volatility due to rich market valuations. अब इतनी सारी complicated चीजें हो गई इन दो sentences में. First key problem they are saying is that, hey, you know what, there are rich market valuations right now. Number two, lower voter turnout means that, you know what, the current ruling party might not come to power, or it might come to power with less strength or whatever it is. So a lot of things to parse through. So I will give you my viewpoint on this, and I will show you that how the US इलेक्शंस जो होने वाले हैं उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा आफ्टर इलेक्शंस. क्योंकि देखो, जब तक इलेक्शंस हैं तब तक तो सरकार विल डू एवरीथिंग इन देयर पावर टू कीप द स्टॉक मार्केट अलाइव एंड वेल. बट वंस द इलेक्शंस आर ओवर, देन व्हाट इज द इंसेंटिव रियली फॉर द गवर्नमेंट टू कीप द स्टॉक मार्केट अलाइव? चलो उस पर भी बात कर लेंगे. सो फॉर पीपल हु आर न्यू टू माय चैनल, माय नेम इज अक्षत श्रीवास्तव. आई करंटली रन अ hedge fund. In the past I have worked with top corporate firms like BCG, Dalberg, and I have worked with clients like Asian Development Bank, World Bank. So I have a background in finance. I understand finance from that perspective. I have been revealing a lot of parts of my portfolio, so you guys know that I invest big money and I've been doing it for a significant number of years now. So whatever I am going to say, this is based on practical understanding. ऐसा नहीं कि मैं आपको कुछ भी बता के निकल जाऊंगा, and I will not act on it. I will definitely act on it. Along the way थोड़ी बहुत stock discussion पे भी चर्चा कर लेंगे. Final point that many of you are scared कि यार, you know what, ऐसा तो नहीं मार्केट नीचे चला जाएगा 10-15%, what will we do then? खर्चे आने वाले हैं and all that stuff. Guys, see, this is where safe investing comes into the equation, and FD investing is one of the top ways of doing it. I also put some of my money in fixed deposit, which is for emergency expense. अब ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने सारी FD HDFC बैंक में करा रखी है. It's very important to hunt for best FD rates. Now you can use the Incred Money app in order to figure out where the best FD rates are and accordingly do FDs. Now if you use my link, which I have given in the description and comment box, you will get additional perks as well. So definitely go and check it out. So चलिए start करते हैं. And the first data point that I'm going to show you is this really important chart, and this speaks about the pre-election rally that typically happens, post-election rally that happens on a 6-month, 3-month, 3-day, 3 months, 6 month forward, 1 year forward basis. So this is a very important compilation. So let me deep dive into it. And देखो यार, ये वाले तो elections पढ़ने का कोई मतलब है नहीं, right? This is like, so these are like dinosaur age elections, so no point going here. Let's look at some of the recent data and let me help you think through it in a more structured manner. Okay, so in 2004, the market expected BJP to win, but fortunately or unfortunately, Congress came into power, and उससे 6 महीने पहले 8% की रैली हुई on Nifty 50. Then it fell. As soon as Congress came to power, 9% correction हुआ, and ये बढ़ता on a 3-day basis, क्योंकि मार्केट को पहले ही पता चल जाता है that who is going to come to power, वो -17% तक गिर गया. Okay, फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ? This is the most important part कि भाई ठीक है, यहाँ पे expectation थी that BJP is going to win, but Congress won, and ठीक है, in the short term there was a shock, but this shock pretty much went away on a 1 year basis, क्योंकि 17% का फॉल यहाँ पे हुआ, and all that fall was recovered within 1 year. very important, ये आपको पूरा कंटिन्यूम समझना है. ओके, सेकंड की पॉइंट है, अच्छा यहाँ पे क्या हुआ? यहाँ पे एक्सपेक्टेशन थी दैट कांग्रेस इज गोइंग टू विन, एंड कांग्रेस जीती. अगेन मार्केट न्यू मच बिफोर, तो पहली रैली हो चुकी थी. ओके, उसके बाद भी हो गई, राइट? आई मीन देयर वाज कंफर्मेशन एंड देन द मार्केट डिड रियली वेल. बट यू नीड टू सी 2009 इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ द 2008 क्राइसिस, जो बैंकिंग क्राइसिस हुई थी इन द यूएस, विच वॉज द सब प्राइम मॉर्गेज क्राइसिस को बोलते हैं, वन ऑफ द biggest crisis that has ever happened in our living time, so to say. Now the market then had corrected by 66%. So यार, अगर हम ये देखेंगे तो honestly like इसको ज़्यादा analyze करने का मतलब इसलिए नहीं है, because this was a recovery phase. Okay, now in 2014 BJP came to power. The expectation was that hey, BJP will come to power. So BJP came to power, and उसके बाद अच्छी खासी रैली हो गई, 15-16% गेन यहाँ पे हो गया. Okay, what about 2019? So 2019 में भी आप देख सकते हो कि यहाँ पे everyone expected BJP to win. So ऐसी कोई बहुत महान रैली नहीं हुई थी राइट इन दिस बिफोर. उसके बाद गिर गया मार्केट. वाई? बिकॉज एंड ऑन 1 year बेसिस इट फेल बाय 21%. नाउ अगेन दिस वॉज कोविड करेक्शन. ओके, सो टू कट द लॉन्ग स्टोरी शॉर्ट राइट, नेट व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू टेल यू इज दैट सी, अगर आप एवरेज देखो राइट कि वेन एवर एनी पार्टी कम्स टू पावर और चेंज of guards happen or a party continues, on an average the market runs up by 27%. that is what the data tells us. 6 month basis पे भी बढ़ता है, 3 month basis पे भी बढ़ता है, all that right. So हमें तो इससे मतलब है right, because the election results are going to be out in June. So this is what we really care about. So to cut the long story short, it is very good to stay invested in the market right now once the election results are announced. Okay, so this is what I would say. अब क्या हो सकता है? अब दो सिनारियोज हो सकते हैं. One is कि यार everyone is expecting BJP to win in Congress comes. So किस तरीके का सिनारियो होगा? वो कुछ इस तरीके का सिनारियो होगा, and that is what the market is also expecting. And this we will get to know like a little bit ahead, maybe like a week ahead in time, so to say. Market will react. उनके पास इंटरनल इन्फॉर्मेशन होती है नहीं होती है, आई डोंट नो. ओके, बट येस आई विल गो विद द मार्केट. ओके, सो शॉर्ट टर्म में इफ यू वांट टू स्विंग और समथिंग देन या जस्ट लुक एट लाइक 1 week बिफोर द मार्केट. वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फेज. आई विल बी विथ यू. आई विल डू कॉमेंट्री रेगुलरली ऑन माई यूट्यूब मेंबर कम्युनिटी ऑल्सो. आई गिव very very quick updates almost on daily basis. I write 1 to 2 posts and give you quick updates regarding the market. For example, today I wrote about City Union Bank, right? The stock had fallen by 4.5, 5%. अब यहाँ फटाफट वीडियो तो बना नहीं सकता, so I put it on my member community, right? All these important posts. So anyways, coming back, this phase is going to be hyper important, so just keep an eye out, especially if you are a swing trader. What about investors? The key takeaway is that देखो बने रहो, कोई मतलब नहीं है फालतू की चीज़ों में, right? You know, first we will get out, then we will enter, all that stuff, because you have to at least have a 12-month forward viewpoint on things. So the central point that I will say, that trader, be very very careful 1 week before, look at the market indication. Investors, do not be scared about investing as long as the market is at a fair or a decent price. Now how do we figure out that the market is fair or at a decent price? So this brings us to point number 2. And यहाँ पे आप क्या देख सकते हो? यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो Nifty PE ratio, right? So this is the Nifty PE, okay? And I am showing you data from let's say 2008 से analyze करना शुरू करते हैं. This green line is the PE ratio, okay? And this pink line is the price or the ओवरऑल निफ्टी लेवल्स. सो ये तो हमेशा बढ़ती रहेगी पिंक लाइन, राइट? आई मीन क्योंकि वर्ल्ड में ग्रोथ होती है थोड़ी बहुत, इन्फ्लेशन हो चाहे कुछ भी हो, राइट? आई मीन दैट्स इन्फ्लेशन ड्रिवन ग्रोथ ऑल्सो, सो टू से. सो दिस पिंक लाइन इन मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द सर्कमस्टांसेस इज लाइकली टू गो अप ओनली. ओके, नाउ कमिंग टू दिस पी रेशियो. सी, पी हैज बीन कंसोलिडेटिंग फॉर द लास्ट रफली 2.5 years. ओके, जो लोग बोल रहे हैं कि वैल्यूएशन रिच हो गया, वैल्यूएशन रिच हो गया, नो, इट्स नॉट रिच. सो यू कैन एट मोस्ट से दैट द मार्केट इज नीदर ओवर वैल्यूड नीदर अंडर वैल्यूड. दिस इज पार्ट 1. पार्ट 2 इज दैट द इलेक्शन रिजल्ट्स एट लीस्ट एज ऑफ नाउ हैव बीन फैक्टर्ड इन. ओके, नाउ अब ये फैक्टरिंग इन में कंफर्मेशन होगा, राइट? आई मीन ऑलमोस्ट 1 week, जैसे हम देख चुके हैं थ्रू प्रीवियस डेटा, दैट 1 week बिफोर वी विल स्टार्ट गेटिंग एन अंडरस्टैंडिंग. देखो यार एकदम से बहुत शार्प करेक्शन आया, विच मीन्स दैट in all likelihood market was expecting BJP to win, but unfortunately it doesn't seem like that would happen, and market में आपको भारी भरकम correction दिखेगा. If that does not happen, then you know उस week में जाके आप लोग खरीद लेना, right? And the chances are कि once BJP wins there will be a massive rally. So that's one scenario. Do this type of scenario analysis and you will reach your conclusion. I'm not painting the entire picture, I'm just helping you understand the concept. You yourself will be able to make money. So this is the second key point, that Nifty right now is not overvalued. अगर overvalued होता and then you know market is expecting BJP to win but it loses, तब तो भाई साहब बहुत बुरी गिरावट आएगी. ऑन द फ्लिप साइड, चलो उसका दूसरा सिनारियो भी एनालिसिस कर लेते हैं कि अगर कांग्रेस आ गई तो क्या होगा. सी, शॉर्ट टर्म में पेन विल बी देयर एज आई हैड प्रीवियसली एक्सप्लेन्ड, एंड देन रिकवरी इज लाइकली टू हैपन फ्रॉम देयर. ओके, सो दिस इज द सेकंड की पॉइंट दैट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. तो ये तो गई अच्छी बात कि यार अच्छा, देन नेट यू आर सेइंग दैट द मार्केट इज अनलाइकली टू फॉल, सो आई विल गो एंड बाय. सी गाइस, यू हैव टू सी द लेवल्स ऑफ निफ्टी इन कॉन्टेक्स्ट टू द यूएस मार्केट्स ऑल्सो. अब मैं ये बोल देता हूँ भाई कि ये भी समझा देता हूँ कि वाई इंडियन मार्केट is correlated to the US market. See, US prints what? US prints US dollar. That is the reserve currency of the world. Almost 60 to 70% of the world trade happens in US dollars. And इसलिए इंडिया को भी अपना फॉरेक्स मेंटेन करके चलना पड़ता है, दुनिया भर की चीज़ें in which US dollar is there. So to cut the long story short, if anything goes down in the US, India also gets impacted. Can I give you an example? Yes, 2008. That was purely a US originated, US centric crisis. But did it shake India? Yes. In the US market, their Sensex fell by roughly 65%, right? In India also, our Sensex fell by roughly approximately the same amount. So what is it that I'm trying to say? That hey, there is a very very strong correlation between the India market and the US market. दोनों कोरिलेटेड है, वेरी वेरी हाई कोरिलेशन. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि सिर्फ इंडिया मार्केट ऊपर चलता जाए एंड यूएस मार्केट डज नॉट गो अप, एंड ऐसा भी नहीं हो सकता कि यूएस मार्केट ऊपर चलता जाए एंड इंडिया पे प्रभाव ना पड़े एंड ऑल दैट, राइट? सो प्लीज बी कॉग्निजेंट देयर. इज दिस थिंग गोइंग टू चेंज इन द फ्यूचर? मे बी, बट हाउ फास्ट आई डोंट नो. मे बी इट विल टेक अ फ्यू decades and it will only happen once India decouples from the US dollar and the world at large decouples from the US dollar. Is that happening? Yes, right? And this is a macro point that you need to understand. This is a massive arbitrage. Arbitrage is sure short bet. आप इसमें पैसा बना भी सकते हो, बहुत सारा पैसा खो भी सकते हो. Okay. So anyways, I hope that this is clear. So on that note, let me present point number 3, which is the quick analysis of the US market कि भाई US का PE कैसा है. Okay. So for this, we can go here and there are 2-3 key points that I will tell you. This is the PE of the US market. You can see that this is the PE here. It was close to 41 somewhere in 2021 and उसके बाद the market corrected quite aggressively. Okay. अभी कहाँ पे है? अभी the US PE is somewhere around 28. Now, is this high or is this low? So for this, you need to understand ki what is the usual median PE. Okay. See, the median PE in US is typically around 18. It ranges from 20 to 28. So is it towards the higher end of the range? So the short answer is yes, it is. Okay. So if we combine the previous point that I said and this new point, US market seems to be overvalued. Indian market seems to be fairly valued. Now, अगर US में correction आ गया तो इंडिया में क्या होगा? भाई साहब इंडिया में भी भर भर के correction आएगा. Now, what becomes a very risky asset to own as of now? I would feel that tech stocks in India, right? Tech predominantly IT. It's risky. अब आप देख लो आपने जो करना है. I am still holding. It's not as if कि मैं सब बेच बाच के निकल गया. But see, my profits have been booked. Now, if you have been a member of my community, you would know that I had done a very good swing trade on Nifty IT. Made very good returns. कि 35-40% के आसपास I had booked. So now that is a cushion for me. So therefore I can afford to hold Nifty IT even now. Okay. क्योंकि 40% तो करेक्शन नहीं होगा. लेकिन अब मान के चलो कि इन द शॉर्ट टर्म, बिकॉज यूएस के इलेक्शंस कब है? यूएस के इलेक्शंस हैं दिसंबर में. ओके. एंड फ्रॉम दिस पॉइंट इफ देयर इज अ 10-15% करेक्शन इन द यूएस मार्केट, व्हाट डू यू थिंक इज गोइंग टू हैपन ऑन Indian IT stocks? I would say that hey, correlated, there is likely to be a 10-15% correction there. So please remember this point. This is a fairly important point. It will not be taught on books. If you like these type of concepts, do definitely subscribe to this channel. I make a lot of fundamental driven videos from practical understanding. मैं सिर्फ बातें नहीं करता. I actually put my own money also, get a lot of learnings and I share them with you. So then comes the next logical question to ask that okay, then does it mean कि यार निकल जाए बाद में आए when US market falls this that? Okay, so for that you need to know another counterpoint. Okay. The counterpoint here is, and मैं आपको confuse करने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहा हूँ, stock markets are complicated. You need to know all these points and it will never give you a binary answer, invest, not invest. You need to know the pros and cons and accordingly hedge your portfolio. So इसलिए I keep on encouraging you guys to learn more about the stock markets. That will make you more data driven, more logical and will give you confidence to hold your stocks when things are falling. क्योंकि बढ़ते मार्केट में तो हर कोई होल्ड कर ही लेता है. So anyways, coming back to the point, the counter argument to this US falling down theory is that see, वहाँ पे elections हैं and of course for the next 6 months there can be very high volatility in the US market, but net market जहाँ पे है अभी US में, it is most likely going to stay around that. It's not as if that there will be like a 30-40-50% correction and all that stuff. हो भी जाएगा तो वहाँ पे interest rate they are going to cut and market again is going to rally. Okay, so from that note, does it make sense net सारी situation देखते हुए to get out of the markets? Absolutely not. But does it make sense to over invest right now or bulk buy right now? No. You have to be very, very asset specific. If you're not getting something really good at a good price, do not buy it, at least in bulk. Okay. Number 2, there is going to be massive volatility in the market. This is absolutely true. I do agree to this fact, no matter whoever comes to power. Number 3, in Indian market, is rally likely? Yes, I would say that there could be a short-term rally, right, depending on election results. That's likely. Okay. If this rally stopped now, then most likely this will rally with the US market, which might happen towards the end of December, right? So somewhere around that time. So again, good conditions are building. The macro data supports us. Now comes the next important point, and मैं 2-3 points और बोल के close करता हूँ video. See, is there froth happening somewhere in the market? Because so much news has been coming कि यार small cap overvalued है, mid cap overvalued है, this that stuff. Again, let's look at the macro data. Okay. So again, let me take you to mid cap 50. अब मैंने small cap 250 क्यों नहीं लिया? Because the reason is that index was recently started. It does not have a very long history. Okay. So if we look at mid cap, that somewhat mirrors small cap also, because mid cap, small cap typically give 2x mimics the returns that large cap gives. And when the large cap falls by let's say 5%, again the mid cap fall twice. Okay, so यहाँ पे आप देखोगे अगर इसका PE ratio तो then like इसी रेंज में घूम रहा है यार, ऐसा तो है नहीं कि बहुत ज़्यादा हो चुका है. Okay, so then again this according to me is not hyper overvalued, थोड़ा सा overvaluation हो सकता है. So then comes that you know what, you have given like so much ज्ञान. Now what is it that we should look at, and froth कहीं बन रही है and all that stuff. देखो यार, लोग मार्केट का ज़बरदस्ती ओवर एनालिसिस करते हैं and it does not lead to anything. There is decision paralysis that happens then. Okay, the most important question and the key central question that you need to ask yourself now is that hey, this is PE ratio. Are the earnings going to go up or not? If the earnings are going to go up, then because the market somewhat looks fairly valued, then what is going to happen? The PE ratio overall is going to come down. Why? Because numerator has gone up. Okay, so ये definitely होगा. So what you need to do is that next 12 months, right, you need to ask very sensible questions that hey, are earnings going to go up? What is your approximation? And second key question is that in which segment or what specific stocks types are the earnings going to go up, right? For example, मैं आपको एक specific stock के बारे में बात करता हूँ, and this is not a recommendation to buy. I had discussed this stock on my YouTube member community. The stock was SW Solar. तो मैं आपको उसका example दिखाता हूँ कि why did I purchase that, right, roughly 1.5-2 months back, and अभी इसमें चल क्या रहा है, right? So for example, if you take a look the rally, right, I mean from where I had purchased it. So I had purchased it somewhere here, right, somewhere here, right? So 500 पे था, right? It's at 800. So 40% gain had already happened. In fact, I had made a public video also discussing this stock. And मैं आपको थोड़ा सा और कहानी इसकी explain कर देता हूँ. See, सबसे पहले तो investor tab पे जाएं. Okay. So promoter, you will see that hey, Reliance had picked up stake, 40% stake in this company, right? And it still holds substantial stake in this company right now. Okay. Now this is point one. And SW Solar करता क्या है? It's EPC, right? So engineering, procurement and construction of solar things, right? जैसे for example solar panel लगने गई, right? So contract लगेगा, कोई सरकारी कंपनी निकालेगी, then SW Solar will be doing the grunt work कि they will go and build this entire infrastructure and उसका construction करेंगे. Simple example मैं बताऊँ कि जैसे for example when we build a house, okay, so architect, what the architect does, architect basically आपको plan बना के दे देता है, नक्शा बना के दे देता है and all that stuff. And who actually constructs the house? Well, laborers, yes, but that person who coordinates everything is called a subcontractor. So similarly, SW Solar is also a subcontractor. Now, अब subcontracting में होता है क्या है यार, अब जैसे आपने मकान बनाने का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दे दिया, अब subcontractor को when is his bulk payment going to get released? स्पेशली बाय द गवर्नमेंट, सो टू से, राइट? बहुत लास्ट में ही देंगे वो, एकदम अंत में रोला ला के पैसे देते हैं. सो दैट बुकिंग ऑफ रेवेन्यूज हैपेंस व्हेन, राइट, टुवर्ड्स द एंड, राइट? सो अभी आप देखोगे कि देयर हैज बीन अ सडन स्पाइक, राइट, ऑफ दिस. सो इसके रेवेन्यू रियलाइजेशन और रेवेन्यू रिकग्निशन जिसको बोलते हैं अकाउंटिंग में, वो होने लग गया है. सो देयरफॉर नाउ अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल हैव स्टार्टेड जंपिंग ऑन टू दिस स्टॉक. नाउ व्हेन आई वाज स्पीकिंग अबाउट इट, तब यार लोग सुन नहीं रहे थे. सो यू हैव टू लुक फॉर दीस टाइप ऑफ आर्बिट्राजेस. सिमिलरली जोमैटो में क्या होता है, जोमैटो में देयर वाज EPS ग्रोथ, राइट, अर्निंग पर शेयर ग्रोथ, एंड द कंपनी वाज बिकमिंग प्रॉफिटेबल. तो देयरफॉर EPS उसका पॉजिटिव हो गया अब, एंड ऑलमोस्ट पॉजिटिव पे ही है. सो यू हैव टू पिक कि अच्छा यार ये कंपनी प्रॉफिटेबल हो जाएगी, राइट, एंड यू बाय इट बिफोर. सिमिलरली यहाँ पे रेवेन्यू रिकग्निशन हो जाएगा एंड देयरफॉर यू बाय इट बिफोर. सो these are chances that you will have to take. Will I be 100% right every time? No, I will not be, right? I mean, out of 10 stocks, I'll make mistakes in 4-5. But आप ऐसे मान के चलो यार, अगर मेरे 5 भी निकल गए सही, right? And even if I have 50% hit rate and I'm making like 50% profit on those, then my losses on the other 4-5 stocks get offset, right? So that's the bottom line. So आपको थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाना पड़ेगा. Now let me do very quick final commentary on this on 2-3 more stock types, especially around infrastructure. अब देखो यार, I have no axe to grind with Adani ji and all that stuff. My viewpoint on these type of stocks, because बहुत सारे लोग सोच रहे हैं कि नो व्हाट, बीजेपी वापस पावर में आएगी, राइट, अदानी जी को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ही कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मिलेंगे एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. आई डोंट नो. ओके, नाउ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स कैन गो रॉन्ग द वे यू आर थिंकिंग. अब यहाँ पे आपने सोचना क्या है कि अगर आप लास्ट 12 मंथ की सेल्स देखो, सो इट हैज स्टार्टेड टू गो डाउन अ लिटिल बिट. दिस इज वन. सेकंड की पॉइंट आप देखोगे कि दिस हैज अ 1.67 डेट टू इक्विटी रेशियो, विच मीन्स दैट फॉर एवरी 1 rupee ऑफ इक्विटी दे हैव 1.7 rupees ऑफ लोन्स. ओके, now if someone has loans, now what do they need to do on that? बोलेंगे लेके भाग जाओ, okay, no, right, they have to repay it, okay, and the repayment cost adds up. For example, US right now as a country repays $1.2 trillion in debt. That's very high repayment, right? अब country तो bankrupt होती नहीं है, but private companies and all that stuff, if they are not able to generate profits in the future to offset this debt, it becomes a problem for them. Okay, so this is the bottom line here, that this is a highly levered company, and if you understand macroeconomics right now, what is happening is that, hey, the interest rates are likely to stay flat for a little bit. Okay, then it will come down, but inki the cost of capital for Adani Enterprise is already very very high, and they are a highly levered company. मैं थोड़ा सा आपको समझा देता हूँ. See, debt तो यहाँ से high है, right? Everyone sees this. And what about the total debt that they have? That is also very high. The interest rate at which they have procured the debt. अब ये data तो मिलता नहीं है, but basically there is something called as weighted average cost of capital, right? So इनकी जो weighted average cost of capital है, which comes out to be roughly 12 to 14%. Now जो इनके return on capital है, that is only 10.2%, right? Now ये सब देखते हुए, right? Does it make sense to put money here? Now I cannot comment on price. Price can very much rise like this. I cannot comment on that. But from a business viewpoint, कि भाई सारी funding देखते हुए and all that stuff, does it make sense to invest here? The short answer is, according to me, no. So I will stay away from these type of infra heavy companies which are heavy debt and which have a lot of interest repayment coming up, because it is expected that there is going to be another banking crisis in the US. Right now, उस पे भी मैं नजर बनाया हुआ हूँ. So I will inform all of you guys, right, how that is likely to play out. But that kind of kills the bull run. So let's keep an eye out on that. But please don't be scared. It will take time. Okay. So the final point is regarding the private investments in India. Now this is something that I am studying more, right, and I will share more information data with all of you. अभी आपने सुना होगा कि OYO जो है, right, it is trying to refile its IPO. Here this is like I don't know what to say to this. Now think about it rationally, that OYO is like 11-12-year-old company, if I'm not mistaken. It is not technically a startup anymore. It had already raised billions and have burned money like crazy, and now they are raising money again just to pivot. By 11-12 साल में, in 12 years, you are unable to figure out the business model. You have burned crazy amount of cash and you are close to IPOing. भाई अब करना क्या चाहते हो, right? I mean, the bottom line there is very simple. It's very very simple, and this is how the entire system works, right? ये private firms जो होती हैं, उनका सिंपल गोल, राइट, जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां बची हैं, कि जैसे तैसे करके पब्लिक मार्केट में पहुंच जाओ, राइट, देन इट बिकम्स पब्लिक्स प्रॉब्लम, राइट, बिकॉज यहाँ पे आप ओवर वैल्यूएशन कर लोगे. यहाँ पे आपको एक सर्टन पी मिलेगा. इंस्टेड ऑफ हैविंग अ फेयर पी ऑफ लेट्स से 15, दे विल ट्राई टू गेट अ पी ऑफ 25 इन द मार्केट. ये जो 10 का डिफरेंशियल पी है, दैट दे पॉकेट इन फॉर्म ऑफ प्रॉफिट्स फॉर देमसेल्व्स, एंड देन इट बिकम्स अ पब्लिक प्रॉब्लम दैट हे यू हैव परचेज्ड अ वेरी हाई पीई stock where the business is not really growing. Okay, so this becomes a huge headache for you now. Now, why do you think that Byju's failed? Well, because they were unable to debut here for whatever reasons. If they would have been listed on the public market somehow, जैसे तैसे पहुंच गए होते, this mess in which Byju's currently is now, that would not have happened. I can show you companies after companies, इनका कुछ नहीं है business, right? Literally no business. They will never become profitable. But just because they have reached public market, public लेके बैठी हुई इनके stock, right, and सोच रहे हैं कि अच्छा किसी दिन business model will become fine and we will go and make our money. No, इसमें तो फाउंडर अर्ली इन्वेस्टर्स who have invested in the public market, they have already made it. So इसका सोल्यूशन क्या है? बहुत सिंपल, कि प्राइवेट फर्म्स पढ़ो, राइट, एंड make investments there. This is where the Indian market is actually gravitating towards. Good money making opportunities here as per my understanding, because आप इनके साथ इन्वेस्ट करो, राइट, ये जितने भी लोग हैं, राइट, एंड देन पब्लिक इवेंचुअली जाके खरीदेगी वो चीज़, राइट, एंड देन यू विल ऑल्सो मेक मनी. नाउ, do I support this type of stuff? Absolutely not. Is there anything that I can do? Absolutely not. I can simply educate all of you, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. I hope you liked this commentary. If you did, do press the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you soon.